Welcome to the Toffee Blues, your source for all things Everton, and welcome to the match reaction to Everton 0, West Ham United 1. Everton ruined New Year again with another typical Everton New Year's Day performance. We saw it a couple of years ago under Marco Silva against Leicester. Pretty much come to pass again. Another lethargic, laborious, and quite utterly disgraceful home performance. Completely disinterested is the best way of describing it. Not one Everton player today wanted to win this game. And in turn, we've lost it against a team who didn't even look interested in going for a win. That's the worst part about this. They didn't even look interested in going for the win. They were happy to sit out the 0-0. And they've got a win thanks to a fluke goal, to be fair, from Thomas Souček. And, it was a pinball in the box and they got a tap in. And, well, you know what, they weren't great and they didn't really deserve the win themselves. But, so be it. Fair play to them, they go away with 3 points but regardless of whether they deserved anything or not, we deserved nothing because we were an absolute disgrace. Every single player on that pitch should hang their head in shame at that display. Not one player wanted to win this game at all. Some performances were utterly shambolic. Richarlison was clearly not fit to play after this concussion or something, because Richarlison had his worst game in an Everton shirt that I have seen. He never retained the ball once, he never beat one player, and when he did, he just threw himself to get a free kick. He just got completely disinterested, he didn't want to be there. Sigurdsson was poor. Tom Davies has shown exactly why he has so many critics within the Everton fan base, because he is utterly rubbish. Mason Holgate is absolute pony. He did not once. Every time he see a big load of green space in front of him in the opposition half, and he wouldn't run into it. He just looked backwards and pass it across to Mina or knock it back to the keeper, and it's just not good enough. Seamus Coleman was ridiculously poor. Not once did he try and get forward. The odd time he got in there, and again the service wasn't good enough. West Ham defended very well. We got a few crosses in the area, and Angelo Bonner in particular headed everything away. So it was a decent defensive display from them, but we didn't have to make them pull out all the stops. Let's be honest, it was really, really bad. Some of the stuff we saw today was diabolical. But yeah, there was some atrocious performances. Calvert-Lewin wasn't at the races. I think he's obviously quite tired. He's had to play near enough every game. I think he has played every game this season in the Premier League. I just think we had a few more days rest on West Ham here. We should have had more in the tank, but they had more in the tank. They wanted this more, and the Everton players should be ashamed of themselves today. They didn't want this game. It shows that we're not going to get top 4 this season, top 6, anything, if we carry on like that. We're not going to get anything because these players have not got the desire within themselves to succeed. I always worry about this, and I've said this hundreds of times before, during the first lockdown and on a number of occasions since, that without the Everton fans in the stadium, our players aren't bothered. These players need the fans to motivate them, which is all well and good, and that says a lot about how important we are as fans to the club. But these are professional footballers; they should be able to motivate themselves. But I've noticed it's a recurring theme over the last couple of years that Everton never turn up on New Year's Day, never. And I think it's just a case of desire. Do they all want a bit of a New Year's Day off? I don't know, but it was absolutely disgraceful. We were second to every second ball. Our control of the ball was off at times. Players were running ahead of the ball. Players were standing on their heels constantly as the ball bounced past them. West Ham nipping everything away from us because we were stood there on our heels and didn't want it as much as they did. They won every 50-50. It's a frigging joke, to be honest. There's no way that Carlo Ancelotti should tolerate that at all. I know we're down to the bare bones. You have to bring Cenk Tosun on, which isn't that ideal. Andre Gomez came on and was automatically the best player on the pitch. And, Andre's had his critics, but he was comfortably the best player on the pitch in the, 15 minutes or so he was on the pitch. It's just an absolute joke that we could be considering ourselves in with a hunt for top 6, maybe even top 4. and we go and do that and embarrass ourselves like that, and those players know that they embarrassed themselves today. Or if they didn't, Carlos would be telling them what an embarrassment they were because it was a freaking joke. And if he needs these players to decide what their ambitions for this season really are they content with just finishing 8th or something like that? Or do they actually want to succeed and get into Europe next season? It's hinging a lot on, hinges on every result this season because the league is so tight. We can't afford to have slip-ups like this in a home game against a side that we really should be beating. It's an absolute joke, and Carlo really needs to have some serious words, and he needs to be probably dipping into the transfer market as well because we are down to the bare bones. But even then, we've had nearly a full week's rest, which all the other league teams, bar City of course, haven't had. And yet we were still second best physically, and that is absolutely unacceptable. It's an absolute joke, and we need to seriously get our act together. He needs to knock a few heads together in the dressing room over this coming week. We go to Rotherham in the Cup, and I wouldn't even feel confident about beating Rotherham on that performance. We looked like a non-league team again. It's an absolute joke. Consider we've beaten some good sides. Chelsea, Arsenal, Leicester. Good teams. We show what we can do. But I think it just goes to show that without Everton fans to will these players on, there's just not the urgency there to grind out the wins. We are very important as fans, and the sooner we get out of tier 3 or get down to tier 2 or 1 or end the lockdown, whatever, end the pandemic, fingers crossed. But the sooner we get to that stage and we can have fans back in the stadium, it can't come soon enough because we are vital to where this team wants to go, because without the fans, these players just don't care enough. And that's glaringly obvious today. You can say they're unfit or whatever, but they should be fit enough to manage a game when they've had a much longer rest than any other side. It's just not good enough. They need to really get their act together and try and get the season back on track. We had a good run of form and we've just pissed it up the wall. And that needs to, we need to kickstart another good run straight away because we can't afford to slip up. So, we've got to move forward now. We've got Rotherham next in the Cup and then it's on to Aston Villa. Very good team. We need to really be better than that because Villa will absolutely wipe the floor with us. And we need to be better than that against Rotherham, otherwise we could be at risk of going up the cup. We need to just get our acts together, and football's a game. You've got to work hard. You can't be slacking like that. It was such a lazy performance, and I'm ranting a bit now, but it's one of them now. It's what's done is done. We just need to move forward and make sure we improve for the next game. That it couldn't possibly be a worse performance in time. You've got to be thankful that we didn't play an even better team because we'd got our arses handed to us. So let's just move on from this now and try and enjoy what's left of New Year's Day and have a little relax, get a few drinks down. I think we all need one. I certainly do. But yeah, we'll try and move on. Anyway, guys, drop us a comment below on this video. Give it a like, subscribe as well for more Everton content in 2021. And until next time, thank you guys for watching on the Toffee Blues.